Cyberpunk 2077. Oh boy. So, you probably expected me to start this video with a cautionary retrospective on the state of the game back in its launch in 2020, and give you my experience about what I felt about the game back then. Well, you're absolutely spot on, because that's what I'm going to do. See, in the lead up to launch, I was certainly excited about Cyberpunk, but not head over heels like most people. Typically, I'm not the biggest 100-hour RPG lad, but this one, it ticked all the boxes in terms of grabbing me. When it launched in 2020, I had a pretty good experience, maybe because I didn't buy into the hype like many people did. Yet, between bugs, every mission, rough technical performance and oversold promises, it was a good but not great experience. But, even back then, it was clear for any to see that the foundation of the game, it was there. The spine of the game was strong. Its world, its lore, its characters, its sandbox, they all felt preem. So, yeah, I felt burned, but I've always maintained that the game itself is excellent. I know many will forever feel burned by CDPR for overselling aspects of the game, that even now with Phantom Liberty and 2.0, the game still doesn't quite deliver. I refuse to look at it in that cynical way. Maybe that's because of the type of person I am, but this is a comeback story that has taken Cyberpunk 2077 from a game that I really liked to giving me a world, sandbox and game that I've always wanted in my back pocket. Cyberpunk 2077 in 2023 ticks almost every box that makes me love video games. In this video, I'm talking about Cyberpunk as a full package. The base game is 2.0 update and systems and Phantom Liberty DLC. One of the reasons I feel so strong about the game is that Cyberpunk is billed as an RPG, but it's not. At least not an RPG first. Cyberpunk is an action game with strong RPG elements. At least in my eyes, that's why I love it so much. One thing that I typically struggle with in RPG games is that combat rarely ever feels satisfying. CDPR nailed the combat in this game, and not just the feel of it but the depth of it as well. For this recent playthrough, I went all in on being the gunslinger with the handguns. My first playthrough, I was all in on assault. The handguns in this game all create such great feedback from pulling off headshots, allow extensive modification, and all the iconic weapons, they all feel unique because of their unique traits. I play a lot of looter shooter games, and what is so often done wrong with these games is that the rarest, the most exotic loot is just more powerful versions of the other versions of that gun in that game. One thing that makes Destiny 2's gunplay so good is their exotics truly are unique. Well, Cyberpunk, it uses the same models for their iconic weapons, does make them more powerful, but then it gives them that unique trait, like shooting someone in the leg and then being able to go for a critical one-shot headshot, or using all remaining ammo to ignite all surrounding enemies. Or pairing a pistol and throwing knife where when you throw the throwing knife at a body part and then shoot that with a pistol, it blows off that limb. It's incredible. It's fucking incredible. Extremely satisfying and just well thought out. If you're going to go with a loot rarity system in a video game, you have to make it matter. And it does here. Also, can I just mention how good some of these reload animations are for these guns? I mean, Johnny's handgun in particular is probably one of my favourite reload animations in video games, period. The weapons, they all tie in nicely to the way build crafting works after the 2.0 update. It reworks a lot of the skill tree and progression of the game into a much tighter version of it, though still not quite perfect. You can become insanely powerful with these builds and end up just two-shotting the big boy enemies or decimating cyber psychos in like 5 hits. It is crazy. I mentioned depth to the combat, and what I meant was build variety. You want to go stealth and go full Sam Cyberfisher? Knock yourself out. Play Ghost of Tsushima 2077 with a samurai blade? Slice and dice, baby. Not to mention the mantis blades, dash and shotgun, mono wire, sniper rifle, quick hacking everyone in sight. It is massive. So, speaking of 2.0, someone I watch a lot and really value their content is SkillUp. In his review, he brought up one point that I wholeheartedly agree with, that even though 2.0 has been transformative for a lot of people in how they now view and enjoy the game, for me, it hasn't done much other than make me love the foundation that was already there even more, and many of the key 2.0 features like the new police system, vehicular combat, repeatable missions. They feel like test runs of what the promise of a Cyberpunk 2078, or whatever the sequel is going to be called. Don't get me wrong, they're really great additions, but they didn't make me go, wow, this is what I always wanted. Instead, it just made a really strong package go absolutely wham. Speaking of wham, actually no, that's a terrible segue, but let's roll with it. The game's visuals, like I mentioned, back at launch I was sporting a beefy machine for its time, but technically the game was in a rough spot. With the new update only supporting new gen consoles, if you can even call them new gen anymore, and beefier PC requirements, one thing that CDPR is known for is its cutting edge graphics and technology. At launch, the new buzz was ray tracing, and that's why there's so many damn puddles in the game and opportunities reflections. But with the game's current release, it's now pushing that fidelity even further with its cutting edge path tracing features. I'm a graphics snob. I hate myself, but this level of fidelity is truly transformative for the way that the neon lit signs and monuments look and bounce light across the game. How scenes with dark rooms light up with light peeking through the blinds onto Idris Elba's face, or shadows casting over Johnny whilst he wonders about decisions that have led him to where he is today. It is without doubt the best looking game I have ever played. But it doesn't stop there. See, I rarely become truly immersed in video games. My toxic trait is constantly checking my phone or spinning around, but within seconds of booting up this save, I am immersed, whether that be out in the desert with Panam or driving through the underbelly of Dogtown. It is next level immersion, but pretty graphics, they only take you so far. I am yet to play Starfield. I'm hoping to get to it soon. I'm not a console fanboy or none of that shite, but I've seen the comparisons to Cyberpunk, and look, it's ridiculous, it's childish, but one thing that I did see was the comparison when it comes to facial animations and interactivity in its dialogue moments and cutscenes. I don't think it's a fair comparison. Sure, maybe Starfield looks a little bit dated, but I think it's more just because CDPR are on another level when it comes to this. The subtle movements of facial features creates that immersion, but also that connection and believability to these characters. The way their eyes will roll towards you if something awkward is said, or the sadness when there's regret. It's world class the level of effort that the animators and cinematic design team have put in here, not just with Idris and Keanu, but the entire cast of main characters. It's now the most technically impressive game I've ever played, and defines next gen to me. To reiterate, I feel fortunate that I get to play this on a 4090 and maximum fidelity, but it truly is transformative into how this game is to be played. Cutting edge graphics are all well and good, but they don't define a video game. However, when you pair visual presentation alongside this game's stories and characters, that, my friends, is a match made in heaven. The story's premise in a TLDR version is run heist, heist goes wrong. Okay, heist goes really wrong. Okay, things keep getting worse and worse, but hey, Keanu's here, now all is good. But seriously, no, the plot here is really good. Even if the game's design does feel a little at odds with itself for a game that is all about time running out, there sure is a hell of a lot of stuff to do. But then again, maybe that's the point. When you haven't got long, you want to do everything you can to help find a solution, or to spend time with others that you care for, or activities that you care for doing. There was a common complaint at launch that while Night City looks beautiful, it didn't offer a whole lot of things to do. But personally, I disagree. I've always been a quality over quantity guy when it comes to quests, activities and missions. And whilst everything in the game is not a 10 out of 10, I still think there's a lot of things to do here. Not to mention how the offering is bolstered by the freshly released Phantom Liberty DLC, which brings a new questline, plenty of gigs, and a new location which, while not humongous, offers depth in both its verticality and underbelly, and it might actually be my new favourite part of Night City. The art team just went off with the design here. It either looks disgusting and run down, or pristine. Dogtown is like that one rundown shopping centre with a proper bougie store right in the centre of it that everyone loves. I really loved the main questline of Phantom Liberty. I thought Idris Elba was outstanding. And like, look, I don't need huge movie stars in every video game. In fact, a lot of the time it doesn't work. But seeing Keanu and Idris on the same screen, rendered in such incredible detail, was a real moment. And they don't give half-assed performances either. Idris's accent is a little bit off. Just let an Englishman be an Englishman, please. The main characters of the expansion are strong. I don't think you connect with them on an emotional level the same way you do a Jackie or a Judy, but that doesn't mean they aren't as well crafted. It's because it's a spy thriller. You're analysing every single sentence they're saying. Do they actually mean what they say? And speaking of it being a spy thriller, CDPR, they nailed it, man. The themes, score, missions, arsenal of weapons, and underlying tone were captured and then some by CD Projekt Red. I don't want to overdo my opinions on Phantom Liberty because that's another video that I want to make in its entirety. But I can tell you right now, it's my favourite DLC that I've ever played. And the final mission was such a change in atmosphere and gameplay that I did not see coming, and it was expertly crafted. I can think of other games that have tried this level of variation and fell on its arse. Not here though. One thing I think can hinder or enhance a video game is its characters and its world. More notably, I should say, how the world defines a character and how a character influences that world. That brings me to the biggest side jobs in Cyberpunk. I'm thinking the questline with Judy, the Aldecados, the Perez family, River Ward, and Kerry. What you get from these, and what makes these characters stand out, is you see the imprint that Night City and this Cyberpunk world has had on them. Without spoiling any of these questlines, the Perez quest chain in particular, these characters are the way they are because of how they have lived and existed in this Cyberpunk universe. How this Cyberpunk universe has interacted with them. These questlines are terrific, and they give you as much as a feeling into exactly how unforgiving Night City can be as watching something like Edgerunners, or fulfilling the main quest campaign, or reading the thousands of lore shards that you can pick up within this game. I think one thing that I'm sure intentionally, and maybe a little unintentionally, bolstered this game is the anime, Edgerunners. That is one hell of a series, but it goes both ways. Cyberpunk, the game, is made better by Edgerunners, by how it captures everything that came with Night City. And Edgerunners is made better because of how you already know this world, the sound design, the visuals, the cyber psychos. They are a perfect pairing, a perfect synergy. And after doing a brand new playthrough, I'm eager to go back and watch Edgerunners and be absolutely broken all over again. Look, it's not a perfect video game. There are problems. In the base game, it gives you the illusion of choice, where really all paths lead to the same destination until you pick an ending. The skill tree, it's still a little bit too busy for me. Don't get me wrong, it's extremely fun, but I still can't help it could feel that little bit more focused. The crafting economy is still absolutely busted, and to be honest I feel is made redundant. That could also be on me, I don't know. I wish that at times CDPR were more bold in terms of what are they trying to say with the game's messaging. Something that I do think was addressed a lot more in Phantom Liberty. Yet, Cyberpunk is nothing but a gargantuan triumph in world building, memorable characters, gigantic set pieces, and one hell of a good time. I don't think it's being revisionist to be like, well, actually Cyberpunk was good all along. Because it was. But now it's outstanding. CDPR, they messed up. Big time. If you're unwilling to give them another shot, or this game another shot, fair enough. But I also feel like that's your loss. I know when a game is special. Any game, let's say over 25 hours in length for a good playthrough. It is so rare for me to replay it. It has to be first class. The Witcher 3 was one of them, and Cyberpunk is now another. Usually, it's your first playthrough of a game that is the one that sticks with you. Cyberpunk isn't that. And I'll tell you what speaks even more volumes of how much of a good time I had with this game. That even in a year as good as this, with games like Starfield, Lies of P, Mortal Kombat and Armored Core in my backlog, and over 100 hours in this game, I'm off to go and finish up every gig in Night City all over again, because Night City is where I want to be right now. Cyberpunk 2077, what a video game. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button. I'd appreciate it, chooms. Let me know down in the comment section below, how do you feel about Cyberpunk now? If you're looking for more stuff on this game, hit the subscribe button as I've got a Phantom Liberty video on the way. Have a terrific day. I'll catch you in the next one.